British Deputy Secretary of Defense Anabel Goldy announced that the country would transfer depleted uranium shells for Challenger-2 tanks to Ukraine.
Alongside our granting of a squadron of Challenger-2 main battle tanks to Ukraine, we will provide ammunition including armor-piercing rounds which contain depleted uranium. Such rounds are highly effective in defeating modern tanks and armored vehicles. Anabel Goldy, UK Under-Secretary of Defense, from the website of the UK Parliament.
Such news immediately caused an outrage from the Kremlin. Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the state would be forced to react if Ukraine used shells with depleted uranium. In turn, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the aggressor country, Sergei Lavrov, said that by his decision the UK is ready to take not just a risk, but a war crime.
This is a step towards further escalation, towards a serious escalation. Statements by some Western representatives that there is nothing wrong with this, nothing is forbidden, from the category that we do not violate any conventions, but everyone remembers the results of the use of depleted uranium shells in Yugoslavia or Iraq.
Depleted uranium shells have nothing to do with nuclear weapons. The White House noted that such ammunition is a common type of projectile, and Russia's statements about them as a step towards escalation are unfounded.
This kind of ammunition is fairly commonplace, been in use for decades. I think what's really going on here is Russia just doesn't want Ukraine to continue to take out its tanks and render them inoperative. And if that's really the concern, if the Russians are very concerned about their tanks staying fully operational, they can just take them across the border back into Russia and take them out of Ukraine. They don't belong there in the first place. That would be my recommendation if they're concerned about threats to their tanks.
Shells of this type are conventional weapons that are not prohibited by any international agreements.
The use of this material is due to the fact that it demonstrates much better armor penetration than, for example, tungsten. Depleted uranium is used not only in military equipment, it is also used for the production, for example, of civil aviation, for the material of counterweights in an aircraft such as a Boeing 747. It has nothing to do with nuclear weapons, that is, its radioactivity is lower than the radioactivity of uranium ore itself.
Experts say that such shells existed back in the Soviet Union.
The USSR in the 70s still developed a certain amount of ammunition with depleted uranium, but could not establish their full-fledged mass production. These developments, which included among other things a projectile known as Plumbum-1, have already been implemented in the Russian Federation. In particular, information regarding the fact that Plumbum-1 projectile with depleted uranium is included in the core of tank ammunition T-72B3, T-72BM, T-90 was officially published, including in the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation.
The British Ministry of Defense has already reacted to the manipulative accusations from Russia and called their statements disinformation. According to the country's Defense Department, depleted uranium is a material that is standard for shells capable of penetrating armor, and they have nothing to do with nuclear weapons. Reported by Roman Smoler, Yulia Bil, UATV News.